On November the 20th, 2022, the 22nd FIFA World Cup kicked off in Qatar, where it made headlines for being the second FIFA tournament to take place in Asia and the first in the Middle East. While the entire world has gathered to watch 32 countries compete, this year's tournament has perhaps gained more publicity for its controversy than the actual sport of soccer. Welcome back to Curiosity, and today we'll be talking about the many controversies of the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Is alcohol really banned? How far does corruption go? Have they really abused workers? We are talking about all that and more, so stay tuned. The most talked about controversy is the treatment of the workers. Before the tournament even started, media outlets ran stories on the alleged mistreatment of migrant workers who helped build the football stadiums in Qatar. Since the beginning of its construction in 2014, thousands of migrant workers have arrived in Qatar to work on the stadium. Since then, there have been countless work-related deaths. As for the number of deaths, estimates vary from source to source, as many are suspected to have gone unreported. In late November, news outlets reported that anywhere between 400 to 500 workers have died from World Cup-related projects. As you can imagine, human rights groups are looking at this very closely. Over the years, migrant workers from India, Bangladesh, and Nepal have traveled through the Middle East looking for work. With Qatar building its new stadium, many workers took advantage out of desperation. The biggest problems for these migrants are the working conditions. During the summer, workers are forced to do labor in temperatures over 45 degrees Celsius. With Qatar having to hit deadlines before the tournament, workers have reportedly had to work an average of 10 hours a day. Compensation for labor is fairly scarce. You see, migrant workers are not protected by the same laws as others in the country. They are paid low wages and normally have to pay their own recruitment fees, equivalent to as much as $4,000. Altogether, workers have reportedly spent up to as much as $2 billion in labor fees. Workers from Bangladesh have reportedly been paid as little as $275 a month. On top of the poor payment, workers are subjected to daily physical and verbal abuse. There have also been many reports of sexual assault. Some sources believe that FIFA and the Qatari employers initially lied to the workers about their salaries, as well as their ability to leave their work camps freely. In response to these allegations, several corporations, such as Adidas, Coca-Cola, and McDonald's, have expressed their support for the migrants. Keep in mind, they still continue to sponsor the tournament. There's also controversy centering around Qatar's bid. The country of Qatar has come under a lot of scrutiny over its bid to host the 2022 World Cup. Due to its extremely warm climate, it's never been seen as an ideal destination for an outdoor soccer event. Inside sources suggest the country's government may be in bed with FIFA, and that Qatar's win is a result of shady business dealings. Since winning their bid against the US and Japan back in 2010, Qatar's government officials have been accused of vote swapping, bribery, and other forms of fraud. With that being said, investigations have been made, with no signs of fraud on Qatar's end. While this should be taken into account, we can't help but wonder if the investigators were paid off themselves, as they too belong to FIFA. To add to the suspicion, 3 FIFA officials were accused of accepting bribes from Qatar in exchange for voting in favor of the country. This happened as far back as 2020. I guess only time will tell. The social climate in Qatar also has people concerned. Qatar has many social issues outside of the World Cup. Its human rights violations have become an international conversation since the tournament started. Homosexuality is a crime in the country, with members of the LGBTQ+ community often being discriminated against and even imprisoned. It's been reported that as recently as October, several people were beaten by security officers due to their sexuality. When Qatar first won the World Cup bid, treatment of LGBTQ citizens came into question, with many wondering if the country was fitting for such an event, given their poor human rights records. When FIFA President Sepp Blatter was asked about this reality, he suggested that gay football fans should refrain from any sexual activities while visiting Qatar. Blatter was heavily criticised for this remark. He later clarified that he wanted the World Cup to be an event for all cultures, and that discrimination was the last thing they wanted. Qatar is also criticised for its poor treatment of women, as they do not have the same rights as men in the country. Women in Qatar require permission from men to leave the country, as well as drive a car. Female soccer fans from around the world have expressed their concern over their safety while visiting the country. At the same time, many females have said that they actually feel safe attending the games. This is due to another controversial factor that's created a lot of buzz. Qatar doesn't allow alcohol consumption. If you know soccer fans, you know they love a drink or two. Beer consumption at matches is almost as popular as the sport itself. The issue here is that Qatar has strict rules regarding both the sale and consumption of alcohol. But it's a little more complicated than that. Unlike its neighbour Saudi Arabia, Qatar has not banned booze entirely. It's known to serve non-Muslims over the age of 21 in places like bars and restaurants. But since the country has never hosted an event of this magnitude, they are not prepared for the level of recreational drinking they're about to experience. Let's face it, since winning their bid, Qatar has had over a decade to deal with this problem. But the subject of drinking continues to spark debate in the country. FIFA's corporate interests have posed a difficult challenge for Qatar, as Budweiser has been one of the organization's sponsors since 1986. Alcohol sales are a massive part of their revenue stream, and they're not prepared to let that go. At first, Qatar agreed to loosen their alcohol restrictions for the duration of the event. But just 1 week before the tournament began, Budweiser was given an order to move their beer stands away from the stadium. Sources claim this order came from the Qatari royal family. Things got even more heated when just 2 days before the first game, organisers were ordered to ban all sales of alcohol from each World Cup stadium. While this had no doubt sent most fans in an uproar, many female fans say they feel much safer due to the lack of alcohol consumption. The world is full of complicated and controversial issues. Care to learn more? Let's keep your curiosity going with a couple more videos, shall we? Here's what you need to know. Check out what really happened during the Chernobyl disaster, or what would happen if the US and Russia went to war. Go ahead, click one, or better yet, watch both, and learn more about the world around you. Which world event should we cover next? Let us know in the comments below.